5-minute salute. I'm Chris Budihas, your host, and here, let's start all over. I want to say office. It's not an office yet. Go ahead, one more time. Welcome to the 5-minute salute. I'm Chris Budihas, your host, and in the studio today, I have Larry Summers Jr. from Range 144-1. Larry, welcome.
Thank you.
It's nice to meet you. So let's a little bit about you. Where are you from?
Mm-hmm.
What you do in the military?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's talk about that post-military journey.
Okay, absolutely. Originally, I'm from Baltimore, Maryland.
Baltimore. Ravens fan?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
But yeah, I played lacrosse through high school.
Okay.
So
yeah.
I really enjoy lacrosse and coaching as well.
Awesome.
So I joined when I was 17 in the 11th grade.
Okay.
I did administration, so I was a 42 Alpha in the Army Reserves.
Yep.
I also served as a military technician, doing administration, unit administrator. And then after working for the government,
wait a second. What else did you do for 5 years?
Oh, I was an Army recruiter.
He was an Army recruiter. So he's one of those guys.
One of those guys.
Told you how great it was going to be, and it was, actually.
Yes,
so, yeah.
yes. And, you know, the big thing was just making sure that I was fortunate and blessed to have a recruiter that was completely honest with me coming in.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to return that favor.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so when you left military service, what did you end up doing?
So when I left the military, I ended up working for the Air Force for about 2 weeks. They were too laxed.
Okay. Nothing against our Air Force veterans. Yeah.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
So it took some time to myself, kind of recoup, and actually I applied for a position with FLETC.
Okay.
And now that's what brought me to
what's FLETC for the audience?
FLETC is a Federal Law Enforcement Training Center.
Okay. That's in Brunswick, Georgia.
Yes. Glencoe, Georgia. Yep. They train all federal law enforcement and state and local across the nation.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so what were you doing with them?
So I did training registration.
Okay.
So any training that the organization offered, of course, officers have to register.
Right.
And so it was our job to make sure that they were in their slots and funding was available to them. They knew where to go, when to go, and what uniform to be in. And
then you decided to make this big leap into being a business owner. So tell us about Range 144-1.
Yeah, so initially, we were talking a little bit. I thought I was going to go into project management, but Lord kind of closed those doors, and I didn't know. I didn't really have a goal.
Okay.
And after talking with my then fiance, now wife, we got into dreams.
Okay.
And she said that I had a dream to open up a range. Me personally, I didn't, but I did. Come to find out.
Did you really?
As I prayed about it, thought about it, all these ideas started to flow.
Yeah.
So that's how the Range 144-1 got started.
Yeah. And what does the 144-1 stand for?
So it's from Psalms 144-1.
Okay.
Blessed be the Lord my rock, who trains my hands for war and my fingers for battle.
Okay. Awesome. You know, in our interviews in the past, we've had folks that are been business owners for decades, but you're kind of on the beginning of this.
Absolutely.
So you can, for advice for those who either looking to start their own business or those getting ready to exit the military and start their own business themselves, what advice have you, and what's the, because it's not always great, right? There's obstacles on the road.
Absolutely.
You know, what advice or what has been your experience with it?
I think going back to kind of trusting our training, you know, things are going to be tough. You know, missions are tough, but at the end of the day, we know they have to be accomplished.
Yeah.
So sometimes we've got to grit through those tough times and see beyond just what we're looking at, our circumstances at the time.
Yeah, and what are some of the difficulties with starting your own business right now? Because you're in a very unique space, right? Because we're not opening up a donut shop, we're not opening up a mechanic, shop. You're opening up a range. What are some of the difficulties with that?
So come to find out, a lot of the difficulties are land, land, and to be honest, in this culture that we're in right now, the firearms industry is kind of looked at in a more negative light when it comes to banks and the capital. So that's a challenge as well.
Okay. So raising capital, because obviously they're looking at return on investment, at least 3 to 10x. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely, definitely.
In an area where obviously, and obviously for this group here, but for the nation, Jacksonville, Northeast Florida is growing exponentially. So I can only imagine permitting, for the city is looking for residential or commercial, and ranges might be the thing they're really not looking to permit with.
Yeah. That's a challenge as well, but thankfully in Florida statute, there's a statute that states that any zoning can't be changed to prevent a range or prevents maybe a stop or slow down to our constitutional right to not only bear arms but also train to be proficient with them.
Okay, no, that's great. So what's the future for Range 144-1?
Lord willing, we will be an indoor-outdoor range.
Okay.
I'm looking to train people. I love beginner shooters,
okay.
individuals who are just getting into the firearms industry.
Yeah.
Just clean slate,
yeah.
you know, willing to learn, and most importantly, wanting to protect themselves and the ones they love. So.
Now I love that. You know, it's funny. I got a friend that's in the state of Texas who does firearm safety, and we had this conversation with a couple other friends of ours. You know, you don't take your kid and throw them in a pool. They don't have swim lessons. So
Absolutely.
why would you give your child a firearm without, you know, some form of professional training?
Definitely.
You know, you can obviously do it yourself if you feel you have the skills, but others may not, and you can provide that service. That's gigantic.
Definitely, definitely. And I do get the question a lot. How young am I willing to train a student? You know, and to the parents, I say, if you feel like your child's responsible enough, I will train them.
Yeah.
I've trained a young man as young as 9 in firearm safety.
Are you doing this training now, or are you waiting till you open the range?
You know, it's funny you should say that.
Yeah.
The way my business plan is written, the range would have gotten started in firearms instruction, gunsmithing, but the Lord kind of switched it around where I started instructing firearms, and now I'm into gunsmithing. And pretty soon,
really?
Pretty soon reloading.
Yeah.
And Lord willing, like I said, down the road, it'll be the range.
Okay, that's great. So for the audience out there that want to take advantage of what you offer, either through training, gunsmithing, and then reloading in the future, how they find you?
I'm on Google. If you do a simple Google search, range, RANGE, space 144 hyphen or -1.
Okay.
You can definitely find us on our website, range1441.com.
That's awesome. And you're on LinkedIn too, right?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, so for all our folks that are, you know, they have capital and they want to invest in an American-owned company here in Northeast Florida, you know, take a look and look you up and contact you on LinkedIn and have a good conversation.
Absolutely,
So,
absolutely.
And those that are out there who've probably been successful and opened their own range, if they see you, I'm sure you'd be willing to have a phone call with them to gain any advice.
And if need be, sit down for lunch. I'll travel to you.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, hey, Larry, thanks a lot for your service in the military and what you're doing in your post-military career for our community. It really does matter.
Thank you.
Well, hey, folks, if you like what you heard today, follow us on LinkedIn. In addition, today our segment was sponsored by Operation Barnabas, a nonprofit over there in Northeast Florida, helping veterans get a hand up, not a hand out, as they get back on their feet and where they want to be in the community. We'll see you in our next segment.
Operation Barnabas is a veterans ministry, started in 2017 with the purpose of helping our veterans that kind of got left behind.
These people went over and went to war for us, and a lot of their friends didn't come back, and that's a lot of the stuff that we as veterans deal with is there's a lot of people that didn't make it back, and then it's like, why are we here? So and then they isolate.
And you know, they've struggled with addictions, PTSD, suicidal thoughts, those kind of things, helping them get whole again through one-to-one mentorship.
So being able to communicate with them and help them can drastically change their life, can drastically change a family's life. The little that we can do is put our hand out and say, hey, do you want a hand up? Like, we're not giving a hand out. Do you want a hand up? And just be able to be there with them and do life with them and just be able to help them, because, man, they put their life on the line for you and me.